This is going to be a video in which I already know is going to get ratioed to shit, because this is a topic that I've sort of recently learned that gets a lot of people riled up, and rightfully so in a lot of cases, but certainly some of the arguments that a lot of people make may be symptoms of larger problems. And certainly a lot of the solutions that a lot of people are, putting out there are antithetical to just about everything that I am an advocate of personally. And that is, these fools are advocates of more government control and government regulation. So let me be real clear as I'm setting the scene on this topic. I am against microtransactions that give people competitive advantages in games, no matter what the game is, right? If the game is online, if the game is centered around competitive play, team competitive play, 1v1 competitive play, doesn't matter. And you have the option to pay money to boost a character's stats, for example, in order to give him a competitive advantage, or your team a competitive advantage, that's bullshit. Now, why that's bullshit has everything to do with just, again, competitive play, and not a lot to do with what people are, or some people, to be fair, are griping about when it comes to microtransactions in video games. It seems like people are so frustrated at this point, because I don't remember people making these arguments like in mass like this, but it seems like people are now just so against it, and it's getting bad, because it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse in video games, right? In terms of these microtransactions being implemented and giving people, again, these competitive advantages, or people are putting out half-ass games that you pay maybe full price for, but only get, let's say, half of the product, right? Because the rest is behind the paywall. So you're seeing that increase, and people are getting frustrated, right? And I understand it. I completely understand it, because I get frustrated when it comes to video games that, again, I play competitively. But now people are seemingly at this desperation act. It's an act of desperation, right? That they're not seeing this problem be addressed. Dogs walking around here. But they're not seeing this problem be addressed or be corrected. They're seeing more of it. So now people are starting to pull in the kids, right? And this is something that I absolutely expect from those types that are always trying to get more government control, right? They always signal to the kids, right? Always signal to the kids, or when it comes to doing something silly, it's always the excuse is for the kids. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be gun bans or whatever. It's always in the name of the children. That's the easiest target. They use them as stepping stools to put, their own personal agenda, or implement their own personal agenda. They use the kids. They're just stepping on it. Give a goddamn about the kid. They just stepping on the kids, right? And this is why I say it's a symptom of a larger problem. When I start to see the gaming community say, we're so sick of microtransactions that we want to get the state involved. Oh, and it's going to be funny, because what's going to end up happening is that it's not going to work out in their behalf. Because once the state gets more control of that, trust me, homies, they ain't gonna relinquish it. You know what I mean? They already regulated in a sense, but they ain't gonna relinquish it. You give them more control just because you want the state not to really protect you from the kids. You're just using them as a stepping stool, really. It ultimately comes down to the fact that you want the government to protect you from yourselves. Now, there are people that do apply legitimate solutions like, hey, guys, we got to stop supporting these products. We have to be, as the consumers, right? We have to show these guys that we aren't for this shit. support products that don't have all of these microtransactions. There are a lot of people that are out there like this saying that you don't have to support that, and they're right. Those are people that have the same that have, I would argue, the right solution when it comes to these practices. But when you get the motherfuckers talking about predatory practices, gambling, right, addiction, and shit like that, the kids, that's when y'all lose me. Now let's talk about the kids first before I talk about y'all. I talked about this in my recent video, and I already know this video is going to get ratioed to shit. I don't care. Like, whatever. Good. And there's going to be a bunch of people in any comments saying, you know, arguing against positions that I never had, right? That always happens. Again, that's how emotional these people get when it comes to this topic, is that they start being irrational to the point to where they dislike that somebody has a different take, that they argue against a take they don't even have, but try to pretend like that's their position. It's effectively a straw man. But let's talk about the kids that you guys use as stepping stools. I got to talk about in my previous videos, we grew up seeing gambling mechanics in games, and that is slot machines-esque stuff. Sonic, casino level, Pokemon, just about every game that has in-game money or currency growing up, doesn't matter what console that you were playing it on. Mario, seeing slot machines and stuff. We grew up doing all that, playing bingo, which you can go play at the WinStar right now. We grew up doing that, going to Chuck E. Damn Cheese, which is a literal casino for kids. That's what Chuck E. Cheese is. Let's be 100. It's a casino for kids, right? So we grew up doing all of that. And I don't remember anybody ever saying that Chuck E. Cheese was being predatory, right? Trying to stimulate or create these gambling addictions. I never heard anything like that. Going to the fair, Six Flags, playing these games, arcades, right? Playing these games with the mechanical arms, which are literally gambling, right? You can go in there and get nothing out of the bitches. So I don't remember hearing any of that. But because people are so fed up with transactions, they using the kids. Saw slot machine in NBA 2K. Yes, people are lying about how that mechanic works. People are lying when they say you spend real money to then trigger the mechanic, as if you spend money to get tokens and then you use the token to play the casino type games, whether it be in the ball drop or anything like that, which is not how the mode works at all, right? Never mind the truth, though, right? We hate microtransactions. That who cares about the truth? We just see a mechanic that looks like gambling, right? Because it's a slot machine, so you can call it a gambling mechanic if you associate slot machines with gambling. But never mind actually telling the truth on how it functions. Never mind that, right? Never mind that. That doesn't matter because we hate microtransactions so much. But they see that, right? Making people lose their mind because, again, it goes back to the fact that they hate microtransactions that much. So people are talking about ratings. Well, this shouldn't be rated E, right? Just going, it's really all of these just grasp for straws. Just, I don't like microtransactions in game. I'm sick of them. Therefore, let me use the kids, right? Because overall, it's just a shitty argument. God forbid that you have to actually get off your ass and be a parent to your kids. Father your kids. Pay attention to the media that they're consuming. God forbid you have to do that. Use it as maybe a teaching exercise, if you will, because some of these games, like Ultimate Team and NBA 2K and Diamond Dynasty for MLB, they have actually markets that are controlled by the community. Maybe you can teach them about how economics work, why some players are more valuable than others, right? You can use that sort of as an opportunity. Now, granted, again, I think some of that shit is bullshit, but it's because of the competitive element, right? Fuck the predatory bullshit. It's the competitive element. The fact you could just spend a bunch of money, buy all these players on some of these modes, right? But again, that's just one mode, by the way. You don't have to play those modes. The whole game of FIFA isn't centered around Ultimate Team, though that's the most played mode. Because it's a damn card game. So, you know, it's always going to be centered around loot boxes. That's the point of the mode, right? But there's other modes, career mode, and such. Play now, kickoff, whatever. Same with NBA 2K. My team isn't even the most played game mode. It's my career. Right? But God forbid you have to go be parents to your kids. Teach them something. Well, they're out there running up people's credit cards. The kids. We can't be there 100%. That sounds like a parenting problem. Now all of a sudden it's EA and Take-Two's job to parent your children? Is that where we're at now? The game developer's responsibility is to parent your kids. Well, now it makes sense why y'all have no problem dropping y'all's children in indoctrination camps called public schools 5 times a week, 10, 9, I don't know, 8 months or whatever it is, out the year. That makes sense now. Because you got them teaching your kids for them, right? They spend more time essentially with your kid than you do. So now I guess it makes sense as to why not everybody, but why all these people expect gaming companies to parent their kids because they not around, because they can't teach them how to, or they don't know how to damn block the goddamn card on the video game. Right? They don't know how to do that. Or they can't teach them how this works. Son, you will not be spending my real money on this mode. If you want to play that mode, you can earn the in-game currency. If you want to play that mode. If you really wanted this game, I got it for you. But understand you ain't going to be spending my money. God forbid you have to sit your goddamn kid down and pay attention to the media that they consuming. Research something before you buy it for them. Before they're in your house playing the game. God forbid you have to do that. Why it's bullshit has nothing to do with the kids, in my honest opinion. But if y'all want to make arguments to what the game's rating is, whatever. I don't give a shit. ETM, I don't care. I really don't. Though I do think it's nonsensical that you guys are signaling to the kids like that. These are coming from the same size of people in which I agree that understand that and will argue, hey, violence in video games don't cause people to be violent. 1 week, and now they're giving or teaching kids to develop gambling addictions. What the fuck? That wasn't even that was barely a month ago that people were making that argument. So that's where we at. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. But talking about y'all, and this is where y'all lose me when y'all get talking about government regulation. Now you want the government to save you from yourself. It's predatory. It preys on people's gambling addictions because they gotta spend so much money. First of all, you ain't gotta buy the goddamn game. Let's be 100. You don't have to buy the damn game. Nobody is forcing you to buy the game at all. Now, when I say that, they'd be like, well, you're defending the practices. No, I'm not. I'm just giving you the facts. Nobody is making you buy NBA 2K20, right? Nobody. Nobody. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to even play that mode. You also don't have to spend money. Does it incentivize you? Absolutely. That's what's bullshit about it, because it comes when it acts like it's this competitive game. Yet the gameplay is broken. But I can make those arguments, right? And say, dude, you have microtransactions in your game that give people competitive advantages. How can you pretend that this is a competitive game? That's bullshit. I can make that argument without having to signal to the kids. I act like, well, I can't. There's people that just can't help themselves. They spending all this money. They can't help themselves. Predatory. They're being predatory. Look at the flashing lights and the slot machines. Loot boxes. And I agree. They ruin games. They ruin competitive experiences for games. I agree. My dog's barking in the background. Also agree. Shut the hell up. Hey. But they agree. Just had to tell them quiet. Hey, what'd I just say? Like I said, they agree with me. See? But I can make that one argument without having to be like, oh, well, we need to We gotta now because it's getting so bad. We gotta have the government protect me from myself or protect other people from themselves, right? Oh man, that sort of logic has gotten you some of the most not only rotten laws when it comes to prohibition and all of that shit, right? Historically speaking, war on drugs now it doesn't work like you think it works. That you're that much against a microtransaction, which I'm also against too. That you just pulling cards, right? Even if they're contradicting previous points that you made, right? And this is why y'all keep moving the goalposts. We bring up all the games that we enjoyed. Yo, I don't want slot machines in games. Predatory to the children and myself. Okay, well, we grew up playing all of these games that had slot machines. Well, that's different. You'd have to spend real money for it. Like, so just amazing how the post just shifted like that. Well, at that point, it had nothing to do with the slot machines. It was more about the microtransactions being in the game. Say that. The fuck you talking about slot machines for? That's not the bulk of your argument. If it was okay when we were playing Mario, unless you're just that much of a, you want your kids to be in that much of a bubble that they can't even dare see a slot machine. But the government must protect you from yourself. No, it's consumers that can just say, look, we're not standing for this shit no more. And again, the reason why the shit exists is because people continue to spend money on it. And believe it or not, there's a growing community of people that like that element of the game because they don't want to sit and play it. They act like, oh, well, I don't got the time. So I should be able to spend money to get the competitive advantage because I don't have time to put the hours in the game like other people do, to work their characters up, to build their teams up. I think that's bullshit. I really don't give a shit about those guys. That's just me personally. I just think that, hey, man, it is what it is. You either play the game or you don't. Grind or you don't. But you get, again, these people who actually believe that those are righteous because it gives them an opportunity to be with their competition without having to spend as much time, which they claim they don't have. And I think that's a terrible argument. The hell, these are video games. It's supposed to be competitive. Hell, you doing that for? That's the point. Grind. So I think some of the practices in itself is bullshit, but it ain't got nothing to do with me not being able to, protect, save myself from myself. Right? I don't need, I need the games to save me from myself. Like, come on, dude, I don't need that. I did a couple of years back. I did this no VC grind on my team, which I was showing people how long it would take to build these good teams without having to spend any money, right? That's an option. There's people that do that for FIFA all the time where they flip players, right? You know what I mean? So it's a hustle. And that's why I talk about it. I think it's an economic opportunity that you can maybe teach. If your kids play this is maybe an opportunity for you to teach them, hey, this is a way, this is how markets work. Instead of teaching them that it's about gambling, which is the take that you have on it, right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You can argue against that position. You can say, look, this stuff in video games is BS. I don't like it. You're giving us half products. But because the result isn't in how you like it, because again, people are spending money. They wouldn't do it if that was the case. But there's people actually out there spending money. And you don't have to support these products. I don't buy every game. I mean, it is what it is. I'll buy the game if I'm interested in it. Fine. But ain't no motherfucker gonna make me spend money. I don't have to buy NBA 2K if I think that that is bullshit. Like, right? The good thing about, like, for example, 2K is that it does have other modes, right? And that's the thing that I don't understand what the bad comparison that people make, like when it comes to sports games in the past. Well, they didn't have all of these microtransactions. Well, they also didn't have all of these modes either, right? You remember you used to get an NBA Live back in the day. Back in the day, there wasn't really even a season mode. You just played against the other team, and that was it. Now you can still do that, and it's not behind a paywall. All the players that you get, all the teams that are on there are not behind paywalls. You can still do that. You can still play. And then now you have season modes, which you can still play, have nothing to do with spending money. You don't have to spend money on those. All those offline modes, you ain't got to spend a goddamn dime on them at all, right? But then there's other additional modes that, again, didn't exist. So the game is more in that sense. It encompasses way more. All of these games do. That have definitely these sports games that have multiple modes that we didn't have. So that's a bad argument to me. I'm trying to help y'all out, man. I'm trying to help y'all out. I'm not even defending it. You think I give a shit about a casino slot machine being triggered post as a reward system, which is all it is? It's just a reward system, and it's them putting it. The UI is a reward system that looks like some of the casino games. That's all it is. That's all it is. You think I give a shit if that's in there or not? No. I've been criticizing this game for I don't know how long, right? You got good elements and then you got absolutely terrible elements. I don't give a shit about that. Let's fix the game. Let's get rid of the microtransactions because they give people competitive advantage. Maybe keep it to cosmetics when it comes to those game modes, right? But I don't gotta make shit up. I don't have to say, well, it's about the kids. Oh, I need the government to save me from myself. They need to regulate these guys because they got these games that I just have to purchase, right? And they're being predatory. I'm like, damn, how do you, which again, there are, I guess, eating disorders and addictions and stuff like that. But damn, like you can't, I just don't understand it. Like I don't drive past food places and I'm like, well, I got to eat all the food. Like I may drive by and I'm like, man, that sounds good right now. I'm going to step in real quick. Feel like I gotta eat fucking everything just because it's there, which is basically what people are saying. Just because it's there, they have to utilize it. They have to buy the game. No, you ain't gotta buy shit. Don't buy it. Just don't buy the game. Or if you get it, don't use the VC or don't purchase VC. But if you don't like it that much, just don't get it. That's all these games. There's some games that this is why I don't play like games like Madden. The game is so broke that when it comes to like Ultimate Team, you have to have a God Squad. If you don't have a God Squad, you stand zero chance. And I would argue Madden is worse than probably all the other games. Madden and FIFA are worse than actually NBA 2K. Because NBA 2K gives you a way to earn those players without, for one, ever hopping online. But you can actually earn the players outright. You don't have to purchase loot boxes or cards to hope that you get the player. Like they have like domination and stuff where you can just play offline and just earn the player, right? They have those elements. FIFA ain't got none of that shit. They have like these little shitty ass weekly events or whatever that you can get some shitty player that you'll never use because he's not in like your league or something like that. Like, but you can't really earn players outright, sort of like NBA 2K does. So they at least have that. Those two games are the worst, right? I would say Madden's worse, it's the most terrible than FIFA than NBA 2K. Well, you just have to have these guys squads if you want to compete with, and they make it so where you got to spend money. It's just a mode that if you ain't trying to spend money, really, you just don't play that mode. It's a shitty mode. It's a decent concept. But in the same respects, it's like people that are like, well, they want to get rid of the loot. Like you can't really do that with that game. Because it's a card-based game, it's the point. It doesn't matter if it's Magic the Gathering or Pokemon, it works the exact same. Buy money, get packs, use them in the game, right? And it's randomized in terms of what you get in the packs. The only difference is those are physical cards in a lot of cases. Well, Magic the Gathering does have a game online, but a lot of those games are physical cards. And also it's not, they don't release a game every year in which, the shit's null and void. If you don't keep playing that same game. So it only works for that specific game, right? So, and obviously you can sell and trade cards with individuals because you have the physical. This is all virtual, but that's it. I mean, you understand that when you actually buy the game. That's you just know that definitely if it's a sports game, it's gonna be another one coming out. And I've been rallying against that on the out. Like, dude, they don't need to be dropping sports games every fucking year, man. They don't need to do that. But if y'all buying them every fucking year, they're going to keep doing it. But you don't have to do. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Get some self-control. Parent your children. Say, hey, son, we just bought this game last year. You don't need it. I don't think the upgrades are maybe worth it. Or go earn the money yourself. Do some, I don't know, more people grasp some. I don't know. But you don't got to buy it. Have some self-control to say that it's like, I mean, damn, I don't see how these guys see any sort of market and they're like, man, that's not predatory in a sense. Because that's the whole point of markets, of businesses in a lot of cases. They are trying to make a buck. They're trying to make a buck. They are trying to make money. Period. They're trying to make money. Now we can sit here all day and be like, they don't need that. They don't need all that money. Okay, fine. But that's the goal of every single business, unless it's nonprofit. It's to make a buck. That's how markets work. It incentivizes, and by people wanting to earn people's dollar, they get innovative and they make better products. This is how markets work. It's not exclusive to gaming, believe it or not. It's not. But we can accept that games don't cause violence. But gambling addiction is different. Didn't realize that doing all these drive-bys on Mario Kart, which is all Mario Kart is. Mario Kart is a game where you do a bunch of drive-bys. Didn't realize that it was teaching me to do drive-bys. I didn't know that. They were preying on my poor soul as a kid. But the point is, and I want you to take from this video, is that you can be in opposition to microtransactions without having to signal to kids, and certainly without having to be advocates of government regulation and control, because you can't control yourself. That is a personal problem. It's amazing how people go point to the government. And the reason why they do that, you know why they do that? And this is actually the personal problem that you have. You want to talk about addiction, it's like you guys addicted to the state. Because the market isn't responding as fast as they wanted to respond in the way that they wanted them to respond to. Essentially, market does not agree with me for the most part. There's not enough people that are against this. So the practice is still there. Therefore, we must use the state, because I know that's the one institution that has that territorial monopoly on violence, use of violence, and ultimate decision making. And they can bring the hammer down. Instead of you just getting out there and convincing people to not buy these games, parenting your kids so they don't run up your goddamn credit card. Pay attention to the media that they actually consume. Instead of doing that, you look to the state, because they have that territorial monopoly on use of force, violence, and ultimate decision making, and they can bring that hammer down. So I'm with you if you are against microtransactions and competitive gameplay. I'm with you if you are against microtransactions in the sense that they only give you partial game and they hide the rest behind a fucking paywall. After you've already paid for it. I think if it's free to play, it's a little different. I'm with you. But once you start being advocates of government control, once you start thinking that the state must basically be your kids' parents, and once you think video game developers should be responsible for your kids, that's where you fucking lose me. But yeah, I'm with you. If it's just fuck these microtransactions and competitive games.